Well, it looks like Angel Reese. Well, it looks like she's just been caught in what could certainly be taken as in a lie. All right? All these things that she says she has dealt with over the last year, all these encounters of racism.
Imagine this. Angel Reese attends a normal media briefing following yet another blowout loss to the New York Liberty. The cameras are rolling, the reporters are watching, and everything appears routine. Then, something unexpected happens. Angel Reese contradicts the entire narrative surrounding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever fan base. Her PR team might try to scrub the moment from existence, but the cameras were live. It was already out there. Angel Reese is arguably the most hugged, babed, and shielded professional athlete across all sports. Her peers continue to encourage her to be herself, loud, bold, and unapologetic, no matter what. They tell her not to worry about rudeness, arrogance, contempt, or even the lies that may come from her side. They tell her not to worry about any of it. But here's the reality. The WNBA launched an official investigation and found no evidence of racist statements or behavior during the Indiana Fever vs. Chicago Sky game. That's important. That's official. But what Reese said during a live TV moment might actually reveal the real story, and it doesn't align with what we were told. If you have a fever and don't believe Reese, comment below. But this is what we know. The WNBA spent weeks investigating alleged racial abuse at that game. The result surprised only Reese and her online defenders. The league's investigation was immediate and thorough. They interviewed fans who were in the areas where the incidents were reported. They spoke with team staff from both the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. They reviewed security footage from multiple angles, frame by frame. And what did they find? Nothing. Zero. No proof of any racial activity from Indiana Fever fans. This whole situation is beyond embarrassing. Initially, statements suggested that the league was looking into everything. But then? Those statements were edited. Walked back. No, they said, we're not looking at most of it. They were investigating a social media falsehood that went viral. That's what this became, a false story gaining traction, dominating headlines. Despite their efforts, the league found no proof. The investigation included everything: video footage, audio recordings, interviews. Nobody could verify the alleged incidents. And then, it got even more fascinating. Coach Tyler Marsh of the Chicago Sky revealed a critical detail. The team had no idea anything had happened until after the game, when they saw the viral social media posts. The coach of the visiting team, who would be the first to be told if players were targeted, said they learned of the allegations through Twitter and Instagram. Not courtside. Not from their players. From social media. Let that sink in. There were no player complaints during the game. No coaches notified officials. No referees noted any fan interruptions or hostile behavior. The uproar came entirely from a social media thread, without a single piece of video evidence. No audio. No recordings. Just text posts and assumptions. The Indiana Fever players appeared completely fine during the game. There was no distress. No concern. No complaints. Hours later, Twitter exploded. Claims of racism suddenly surfaced. Indiana Fever fans were villainized online. Some even suggested boycotts. And in the middle of this noise, the league geared up for All-Star Weekend with a new headline: player safety was now the primary concern. But here's what actually happened. Someone tweeted that they heard racist comments. Other people repeated the story. No verification. No fact-checking. Major sports media ran the story anyway. Supposed events that did not happen became national news. Eventually, the WNBA issued an official statement: the reports were not substantiated. In other words, it didn't happen. The security footage showed no racist activity. Players and coaches were unaware until they were told by social media. The league's probe uncovered nothing, but there was no apology to the fans who had been falsely accused. "You found nothing," should have been the headline. But instead, the media spun silence. The entire Indiana Fever fan base had said all along, "You won't find anything," and they were right. And then came the moment that changed everything. During a regular post-game interview, Angel Reese contradicted everything. Sitting back in her chair, casually chatting, she answered a reporter's question about the criticism she's faced. At first, she was relaxed. But then, her tone changed. She leaned forward and spoke more seriously. She said she doesn't care what people say online, because no one has ever said anything to her in person. After 3 years in the spotlight, she claims she's never had a single negative encounter with a fan. Just think about that. For the past month, her name has been used to justify the league's need to investigate fans. She's been painted as a victim of a racist audience. And now she's admitting, live on TV, that none of it ever happened to her directly. Nobody ever brought her down. And what she said next flipped the narrative on its head. She denied any involvement in the so-called fan incident. She said she's never had a bad interaction. Then she brought up how information online gets twisted. People make assumptions. People exaggerate. Her tone suggested that the controversy was never as serious as the media made it seem. And here's the kicker, the quote that broke the internet. "I have never had a negative encounter in person, even after 3 years of going through this." That one line crushed weeks of media build-up. She talked about having rough days. She told a teammate not to feel bad because everyone has them. She said her teammates support her. Her coaches have her back. She doesn't have to prove anything to anyone but herself and her team. She finished the game that night with confidence and efficiency. But the real moment came in the second row, when she casually admitted that nothing bad ever happened to her in person. The reporters looked around. They knew what they were hearing. It was a moment of truth. For weeks, we were told Reese and the Sky faced racism from Fever fans. We were told that the league needed to take action. We were told players were in danger. And in one sentence, Angel Reese walked it all back. Basketball Twitter exploded. Her comments were clipped, analyzed, and replayed. People compared them to her prior statements. The reality was undeniable. She said, "I receive so much love in person that I have never received a negative response." 3 weeks ago, the media was running with a race hoax. And now, Angel Reese confirmed it was just that, a hoax. She had never encountered a single negative person. The discrepancy between public perception and actual reality was stunning. The official story had framed Fever fans as problematic. But today? Reese revealed the truth. Social media had amplified a non-story. And with the WNBA's investigation now public, everything makes sense. The league found no evidence, because there was no evidence. Coach Tyler Marsh said the team didn't know about the claims until they were online. And Reese just admitted she's never had a bad experience in person. She says she doesn't hear outside noise. She's never had a terrible interaction. But that directly contradicts what her own team implied when they supported the investigation. If she's never had a negative fan experience, what was the point of the investigation? What was the league even investigating? It was Twitter nonsense. Manufactured outrage. All to score attention.